Hey guys, and welcome to this week's video on the 6 human needs and how they correlate to the tarot suits. So this is definitely the concept of the 6 human needs is not my own. I have taken this understanding from Tony Robbins, who has popularized this idea of the 6 universal human needs. What I'm contributing and adding to the conversation is my attributions of the 6 human needs to each of the tarot suits, with the pentacles representing 2 of the basic human needs. So I'm going to go through each of the suits and explain a little bit more about this, but first I want to talk about each of the 6 human needs just so we have a basic understanding of the concept. So essentially, what Tony Robbins talks about is that there are 6 basic fundamental human emotional needs, and that if any of them are sort of lacking, then we're going to have an imbalance in sort of like our approach to life. And that some people prioritize some of the needs higher than others. So you might prioritize certainty over significance, or you might prioritize love over contribution. It's really an individual thing, but we all have some form of a need for each of these 6 elements within ourselves, and they have to do with our relationships and how we interact in the world. So the first human need that I want to talk about is certainty, the human need for certainty, as well as the human need for uncertainty. So the basic concept of this is that you're gonna need some sense of certainty in order to function in life. So you need to have this basic sort of assumption that you can come home and that things are going to be somewhat normal, and there's going to be a structure, or there's going to be something that kind of holds your life together. You can go to work, you can wake up and go to work the next day, and you can save money, you can put money in the bank, and it's still going to be there next time you come back. You can have an agreement with your spouse, and basically most of the time they're going to fulfill that expectation. They're going to agree with you and sort of have that bond of, yes, we're certain that we're going to both be monogamous with each other, or we're certain that we're going to fulfill our roles, or we're going to, fulfill the negotiations, whatever they are that we have put with each other. So there's a sense of certainty in the area of just your practical life. You need some element of certainty to even get up in the morning and feel that it's worth it to do things in your daily life. But once we have the need for certainty met, so we have enough money in our bank account, we have a home that we can live in, that we can come back to every day after work, we have some solid maybe relationships in our life, we have some friends we know we can rely on, we have a certain amount of, okay, we're good, like things are good in the most grounded, essential level. Then we need a little bit of uncertainty. So we need some variety in our life, and we need to feel that there's going to be some surprises. We don't want to know everything that's going to happen and how it's going to happen. We need to feel a little bit of spontaneity. We need to have some differentiation in our experience, because if we just go to our one home and then go to work and then come back home and go to work and come back home, and we do the same things all the time, that might give us a sense of certainty, but it's not going to be ultimately very captivating. It's not going to be the most exciting life. So we need a little bit of variety once we have the certainty. And so I attributed this need to the Pentacles suit, because you can really get a concept of, with the Pentacles, that we're working towards creating certainty in our life. And with the 9 of Pentacles, she's somebody who has a good deal of certainty. She has her garden. She's very secure. She has everything she needs, so she can now kind of embark on what it is that she's interested in. She can embark on other aspects of life because she has her basic needs met, and she has more than enough stability and security. So the Pentacles also illustrate the human need for uncertainty as well. So we have, this isn't only, connecting to these cards, but you can kind of get a clear sense of the difference between the need for certainty and the need for uncertainty, because here we've got this really nice security, we've got all this really good stuff going on, but we also need to feel at some point that there's some fluidity to life, and that's the Two of Pentacles. We need to feel that there's points of transition, that we can change things. And the Four of Pentacles has to do with feeling kind of stuck, feeling sort of resistant, kind of hanging on to what you have, and sort of not allowing changes to come in because you're so attached to certainty that you can kind of get a little bit hindered by that, actually. So it shows the need for uncertainty. It shows the need for a little bit of change. You can also look at this in a different way. You can say that, this is the need for certainty. Somebody who's been going through a lot of changes now clinging to something that makes them feel certain. But overall, I just feel like the Pentacle suit really well illustrates the idea of certainty and uncertainty as far as basic human needs go, because the Pentacles is really that kind of grounded, earthy, you just need your basic needs met in order to feel certain that you're going to be okay and that you're going to be safe, you're going to be living in an area that doesn't have a lot of violence going on, or, things of that nature. So that's really kind of paramount to me for the Pentacle suit. And I'll go over how we can use this in readings in another video, and we'll talk about it a little bit after we get through these basic human needs. So the second one that he talks about is love and connection. So we all have a universal human need for love and connection. It doesn't have to be romantic love or sexual love. It can also just be a sense of love and connection is something that we all need in varying degrees. So, of course, the Cup suit for me really speaks to the idea of love and connection as a basic human need, because, we see love being exchanged on the Cup suit. We see a lot of matters of the heart. We see emotions. We see how this can have the power to uplift us. We have the sense that this is something that's very personal and very satisfying with the Cup suit. So the Cup suit connects to the human need for love and connection. The Swords suit, for me, talks about the universal human need for significance. And this is kind of an interesting one, because the universal human need for significance, what it really means is that we all have this internal sense that we need to feel special, or we need to feel valuable within our community. With significance, one way that we can gain it without really earning it has to do with being kind of like a dangerous person. So, for example, with the Sword suit, if you are standing in front of someone who doesn't have a sword and you are kind of waving your sword around at them, you suddenly become very significant to them. They're going to feel like they really want to say or do whatever they have to in order to make you feel good about them so that you're not going to harm them. So that's kind of like the lowest vibration of the expression of the need for significance. Another more higher vibration for the expression of the need for significance is about being sort of your best self and taking a very clear approach to things, like the Queen of Swords does. She stands in her truth. She's very strong. She stands up for what she believes in, and she really makes she does things and says things and gives advice and provides things within her group that people begin to respect her, and she gets a very good reputation. And so she's very significant for people. She's somebody who has an inherent value, and so she gets a lot of respect. And so, yeah, the Sword suit for me just really speaks to this idea of needing to feel significant and needing to have a sense that you're important and that you're a valued member of your community or your family, and that when you don't get that, like with the Three of Swords, that can be really disappointing. That can be very wounding when you don't feel that you are a unique and irreplaceable being to the people that you're surrounded by. And you can feel very heartbroken, for example, when you have a significant other, a romantic partner, or someone who's very significant in your life who breaks your trust in such a way that makes you feel less significant to them. So if there was an agreement that you'd be monogamous with this person, and then, something happens outside of the relationship that breaches that trust, the other person is going to feel not as significant as they did before that happened. They're not going to feel as important to the partner who went off with someone else. They're just not going to feel as important to that person as they thought they were. So that also really speaks to that concept. So the universal human need for significance is connected for me to the sword suit. The universal human need for contribution it has to do with your desire to have a positive impact. So this isn't as much about yourself, because significance is kind of focused on yourself. It's not a bad thing. We all have that need. Contribution is more like we all need a sense that we are contributing to something bigger than ourselves. We all need that sense that we are working towards something that has a bigger purpose and that will help people maybe who we never even meet in a personal sense. Or even if we're just a caretaker, we want to feel that our efforts are actually making a positive difference for the person that we're taking care of. So contribution is the universal human need for basically a sense of meaning and a sense that we are really working to make a positive impact. And the wand suit for me really speaks to that, because this is about our efforts in the world. The wands are about what we work towards. It's about what we aspire to. It's about manifestation. Manifestation, like how we manifest ourselves in the world. So what we create based on our effort and our desire to put positive things out in the world. So this is it has a lot to do with our sense of contribution. But also there can be challenges with that, with some of these wands cards. As you can see, some of these cards are associated kind of with the difficulties that come about when we try to do something that hasn't been done before, or we're trying to help in some way, but there's obstacles that have to be overcome in order for us to really express that. So that's the wand suit, connecting to the idea of contribution. And the last human need that Tony Robbins talks about is the human need for growth. So this is spiritual growth. It's about your spiritual evolution. And so that for me really speaks to the major arcana. Because the major arcana is all about personal growth. It's all about the individuation process, which I believe Carl Jung coined that term. And what it really means is it's the process by which your individual personality kind of grows into itself and becomes a full expression of who you really are, like internally, and being able to be that in the world. So being your true self, having a sense of self-assuredness, having a sense of knowing yourself and being able to be yourself in the world in an unencumbered way. And that sort of encompasses all the other needs that we've seen. So you're going to naturally feel significant. You're going to naturally feel that you're making a contribution. You're going to naturally have, love and connection in your life when you are bringing forth the fullness of who you are, right? So, the major arcana really points to this. It really points to the idea of growth through change, and a sense of, like with the Chariot card, this is about directing your own growth and having a commitment, having an intention, moving forward with a desire, a very real desire to become better, to master yourself, to really use your willpower and your sense of determination and your knowledge of what is right, your conscience, and propelling yourself forward in life from that place to become better, constantly to become better, to improve, to keep learning. So that's what the major arcana suit is all about. So of course, even with the Death card, that's a massive experience of spiritual growth, is the transformations that happen in our life where we let go of things that we've been attached to. And in that process, we sort of peel away layers and become more of our true self. So the major arcana really connects to the need for growth. And so the way that I use this, it's primarily in the outer child healing and inner child type spreads, like the one that is in this course. So when you're working with your inner parts, one way that I like to use this spread, or not this spread, but this concept of attributing each of the suits to the 6 human universal needs. One of the ways that I will use this is I actually look for the number of, for example, major arcana cards in the spread that I'm doing to heal my inner child. And I will say, oh, okay, so I have, 4 growth cards. This is a really big growth process for me. Or if I have a lot of cups cards coming up, which I have had one reading that I did for myself around healing my inner child. I think I had all cups. It was crazy. It was totally, it was like all 8 cards were cups. So I knew immediately that it had to do with inviting more love into my life. So I made an intention after that to be more expressive and to ask for more love and affection from the people around me when I felt like I wanted it, and recognizing that also by giving love, you can also feel that sense of connection. You don't always have to try and ask for it. You can also just give it, and by the act of a simple act of kindness, you can feel totally full of love. And so that's really great too. So that was just one experience that I had. But overall, that's the main way that I use these associations, is particularly with the inner child and outer child healing spread that is also in this week of the course. But if you're doing a reading for yourself, just a regular Celtic cross, which we're going to go over later, or if you're doing a reading for someone else and you sense that there's a lot of inner work that this person or you might need to do, or that there's some needs within you that are not being met currently in your life, you can always do this. You can always count how many of each suit have come up in your reading and determine which of the 6 basic human needs are most needy within you at this time in your life, and you can map out really responsible, self-loving ways to get those needs met. So it's not about kind of looking at things and saying, I have a lot of swords coming up, so I'm just really not feeling significant enough, and then thinking that that's like a bad thing. It's more about finding a creative approach to, well, how can I feel more significant in my life, and where have I felt significant? Where have I felt a sense of specialness and value, or where have I been contributing? Where have I made a lot of positive impact in the world? Where have I grown? Looking at your past and seeing the challenges that you've been through, and how even if you are feeling stuck, you are different than you were in the past. And so you've made that growth, and you now have this interest in tarot. So you have this interest in maybe helping others get through their challenges. And so you can derive a sense of significance from that, because that is a very significant thing to be focused on. So overall, I just find that knowing about these associations and looking at the suits this way offers a little bit of a different perspective on the tarot, and it helps you to know. It just gives you another lens to look through as you are taking apart a reading, whether it's for yourself or anyone else. You can also, you can always kind of look at the spread and take in sort of the card connections, the numerology, the intuitive information, the card positions. You can go through all that stuff and then still apply this technique and learn even more about what's going on in the spread. So it's kind of an extra tip to just get some more information, more insight into what's really going on for the person that you're reading for. And if it's for yourself, it's giving you great insight on how you can actively move forward at this time in your life with love, like self-love, with this attitude of, well, how can I get my needs met? How can I be more fulfilling and nourishing to myself in my life? And recognizing with compassion where you do have needs that aren't being met, and how you can sort of go about getting them met in the most beneficial way for everyone involved. So I hope that this little video has helped you guys, and there's also another video where I shared a personal inner child healing spread that you guys can go watch now or later just to see how this works in action. But hopefully it makes sense, and if you guys have any questions or concerns or things that you want to look into with me privately, you can always email me, or you can post something in the Facebook group if you have a question that you want to present to the group. Okay guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you're enjoying the course, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!